Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The first thing I saw was the neon pink, bright, tacky, glowing like a damn highlighter. Dead weight. That was what my custom water bottle said. Dead weight. In blocky, all caps letters. Everyone else had slick matte bottles, black, navy, forest green. Theirs said things like leader, team MVP, future CEO. They passed them out like awards. High fives all around, laughs, clapping. Then mine, hand delivered with a smug grin by my supervisor, Frank. Just a little office humor, he said, like he was tossing me a party favor, not a slap in the face. My name is Lisa. I'm 29 years old. I live in Austin, Texas. I work in logistics. Well, I used to. Before we go further, quick note. Share which city or country you're watching from. Back to that room. I didn't even flinch, just smiled. That was my only move left. My hands stayed loose at my sides. I could feel my face burn, but I kept it still. Behind me, someone snorted. Oh, come on, Lisa. Lighten up, Kara said. She was team lead now, after I trained her, of course. People were already popping cans of hard seltzer. Someone started a playlist. The kind of fake happy corporate retreat energy you can smell from a mile away. No one knew it yet, but I'd paid for the whole thing. Beach house rental, me, full catering, me, custom bottles. Also me, well, I'd outsourced it, but the list of titles had come from Frank. That part I hadn't seen until now. I'd thought we were building each other up. Turns out, they were just building a joke, with me as the punchline. I walked out of the main room, didn't say a word. My boots hit the tile with hard steps as I made my way to the break area off the kitchen. I unzipped my backpack, pulled out the manila envelope, thick, creased at the edges, packed with weight no one in that house deserved anymore. Inside were copies of signed merger contracts, documents I'd negotiated quietly for 6 months. If things had gone right, the entire department would have received equity options and a profit-sharing cut from the startup I was launching. All of it, gone in one breath. I ripped them in half, clean down the middle, standing right there by the table stacked with catered finger foods. Frank walked in mid-tier. His soda slipped out of his hand and hit the floor with a thud. Kara gasped behind him. Wait, Lisa, what is that? I held the shredded contract halves in one hand and looked at her like she was nothing. Enjoy the bottles, I said. And I walked out. I didn't cry in the car, or scream, or break anything. I just drove. Windows down, fingers locked tight on the steering wheel. That kind of silence where your jaw hurts from clenching it. I didn't need to pull over or call anyone. There wasn't a single person I needed to explain it to. They'd been laughing at me for years. That day was just the first time they said it out loud. I started at the company fresh out of college, small logistics firm, nothing flashy. First one in, last one out, night shifts mostly. My badge didn't even open the break room fridge unless someone propped it open. My job was to fix what other people broke. Wrong shipments, missed tracking updates, botched warehouse logs. I made a few small mistakes at the start. Normal stuff. One time, I missed a minor client deadline in year one. My manager at the time told me, no big deal. 2 days later, he brought it up in a team meeting as an example of what not to do. It stuck. From then on, no matter how solid my work was, that was the label. Unreliable, green, needs double checking. Meanwhile, Kara, who joined 6 months after me, lost an entire pallet for a high priority client. I helped clean up the mess. She got promoted the next quarter. That's how it worked there. Frank called it mentoring when he rerouted my assignments to people he liked better. He'd CC me on the results and say, "See how clean this looks?" Even when the draft had started in my hands. He once told me, "You just don't present like leadership." I asked what that meant. He looked me up and down and said, "You ask too many questions. Just be part of the team." But I kept going. Stupid, really. I told myself I was earning their respect. I volunteered for weekend projects, stayed after hours when systems crashed. I built training materials for new hires, walkthrough videos, internal documents, updated templates. Never once asked for overtime. I figured someone would notice. They did. They noticed just enough to give someone else credit. That workflow tool, the one that saved thousands of dollars in freight errors, I coded that in my apartment at 2 in the morning, balancing a bowl of mac and cheese on my lap and watching old tutorial videos on YouTube. I sent the first version to Frank in an email labeled Beta Tool, Internal Use Only. He replied with a thumbs up emoji. Didn't even spell a word. A week later, He demoed it in an all-hands meeting and called it a clever little side hustle from Lisa, our in-house tech hobbyist. They laughed. Lisa's little app. That name stuck too. I never got a bonus. Never got moved up. Hell, I didn't even get a new chair when mine broke. Had to swap with an intern while she was out sick. But I didn't quit. I just stopped trying to impress them. There's a difference. I started logging off at 5 on the dot, didn't offer to cover shifts, didn't sit in meetings unless I was required. I stopped making suggestions. Every time Frank or Kara asked for help, I smiled and said, "Not my department." But I wasn't done building. I started again at night, same apartment, same busted chair. But I was building for me this time, a platform. A lean system for managing distribution routes with real-time sync and plug-and-play templates, built from everything I'd learned cleaning up their messes. I didn't tell anyone, not even my friends. I'd go quiet for weeks, disappear into code, research startup laws in Texas, file paperwork in the middle of the night when my mind wouldn't slow down. Every petty moment from work got funneled right back into that system. Every joke they made, every credit I didn't get, every meeting where my name got skipped, I used all of it. They wanted a team player who stayed small. I became a ghost, right in front of them. By year 5, I had a working prototype. By year 6, I had investors, and they still called me Quiet Little Lisa. Let them. I wasn't finished yet. I parked 3 blocks away from the retreat house, left the car running for a minute while I stared out at the porch lights glowing in the distance. Everyone was already there, probably halfway through the first round of drinks. I'd planned everything down to the last detail. It was supposed to be a thank you, a turning point. The beach house rental, booked with my bonus, 5 bedrooms, 2 decks, walking distance from the coast. Full catering with an open bar, customized merch bags, even a Bluetooth speaker engraved with the company logo. But the real gift was in my suitcase upstairs, 30 signed letters, each offering equity in my startup. That had been the plan. Make the announcement during dinner, hand out envelopes like awards, change some lives. Instead, they crushed it before the chicken skewers even hit the buffet. By the time I walked in, the vibe was already loud. Frank stood in the middle of the room, beer in one hand, passing out water bottles with fake ceremony like he was hosting the Oscars. People clapped and laughed, each name a bigger inside joke than the last. Kara got one labeled Queen Bee. Another guy got the glue. Then came mine, dead weight. Same as before, same reaction. Frank chuckled, said something about just keeping it light, and I stood there pretending my throat wasn't burning. That was the moment. The second everything flipped. I smiled, told Kara I'd forgotten something upstairs, and slipped away while Frank was busy cracking open another drink. Upstairs was quiet. I opened my suitcase slowly, like I was lifting a casket. The folder sat on top, clean, perfectly packed, the weight of 6 months' work and planning pressed between manila flaps. Every letter inside was personalized. Each one offered early equity, a 6-month $10,000 bonus, and a chance to come on board at ground level. Not out of pity, not as a rescue, but because I genuinely believed they could have built something with me. I walked back downstairs, folder in hand. Music was playing. Someone had already kicked off a beer pong game on the back patio. No one noticed me at first. I walked over to the rec room table and laid the folder down. Took a deep breath. Then, one by one, I opened the folder and pulled out a letter, held it up, ripped it clean in half, dropped it on the floor. Again, and again, and again. Frank was the first to stop talking. He looked confused, like maybe it was a prank he hadn't planned. Kara walked up behind him, blinking hard. "Lisa, what are you doing?" I didn't answer, just kept ripping. Slow, deliberate. Letters fluttered to the floor like dead leaves. Equity, bonuses, all of it turned to trash right in front of them. "Lisa, seriously, what is this?" Kara asked, stepping closer. Still nothing. I picked up the last one, Frank's, and looked straight at him, held it by the corners, pulled slowly until it split, then dropped the halves on top of the others. He stepped forward. "If this is a joke, it's not funny." I stared at him. No smile this time, just flat silence. Then I turned and walked out the front door without another word. No drama, no scene. Just me and the envelope full of nothing now. The music kept playing behind me. Someone yelled something, but I didn't catch it. Didn't care. I got in my car, shut the door, and drove. By the time I made it back to my apartment, my phone was already vibrating nonstop. I tossed my keys on the counter, didn't even take off my shoes. just sat on the couch, staring at the screen while the texts kept pouring in. Are you okay? What was that all about? You kind of made it weird for everyone. And then Kara. Not sure what happened, but you really scared people. Frank is telling HR you had a breakdown. I just stood there tearing up paper. That's a breakdown now? I opened Instagram and went straight to the company page. There it was. Fresh post. A group photo from the retreat. Everyone smiling on the deck like nothing had happened. Frank stood in the middle, beer in hand, arm draped around Kara. The caption read, "When one person ruins the vibe, but we stay strong. DAC, team first company culture." The comments were worse. Some people just aren't team players. Dead weight always cuts itself. Y'all dodged a bullet with that one. My stomach flipped. I didn't even feel angry yet, just stunned at how fast they flipped the script. I'd given them a shot at something real, equity, bonuses, a seat at the table. And now I was the villain in a story I hadn't even told yet. I stood up, walked over to my laptop, and opened the folder labeled Launch Materials. Inside was a PDF with every offer letter, signed, dated, timestamped. A full email trail from the lawyers, notes from investor meetings. I clicked forward, typed my lawyer's email into the to field, and hit send. Then I CC'd my new COO. Her reply came 5 minutes later. Want to push up the press release? I didn't hesitate. Yes, my hands were shaking, but not from nerves. From rage. Not the loud kind, not the throw a chair through a window kind. The cold kind. Focused. The kind that sharpens instead of explodes. They thought I was embarrassed. Like I'd just fade into the background again, take the hit, pretend it didn't happen. That I'd stay small like before. But this wasn't before. I set my phone face down on the table and walked to the kitchen. Started boiling water for pasta. Let them post. Let them smear. Let Frank get his little likes. The truth was already loading. And this time, I wasn't whispering it in a conference room. Sunday morning, I was still in bed when the article dropped. My COO texted me the link. No caption, just the URL. I clicked. From warehouse to valuation. How one employee quietly built a $20 million company from the breakroom front page of a mid-sized business journal. Not viral yet, but credible enough to sting. The opening paragraph hit hard. Lisa Monroe started in logistics pushing pallets. She now owns a company valued at $20 million, and she offered to bring her old team with her. They laughed. She walked. Scanned images followed. Ripped contract halves, each dated, initialed. Clean timestamp metadata in the corner. Then came the receipts. Breakdown of the anonymous team fund donations from the furlough year, traced back to a dummy LLC I'd set up under my name. Kara had taken public credit for that. The article laid it out in plain language. She didn't give a dime. Frank's entire mentorship history got dissected through employee testimonies, mostly anonymous. No quotes from me, no interview, no comment. That was intentional. I didn't need to speak. They had already done all the talking. By noon, the article was making the rounds on LinkedIn. Someone shared it in a private supply chain Facebook group. By Monday morning, a mid-level podcast had picked it up. Tuesday, a business YouTuber did a 15-minute breakdown titled, "She Offered Them Millions, and They Gave Her a Joke Water Bottle." The clip showed a close-up of the dead weight bottle, paused on Frank's captioned group photo, zoomed in on comments from Kara's account. Then came the flood. Screenshots of inside jokes, Slack messages, training documents I'd written with someone else's name stamped on them, and comment after comment, "This you? So, she paid for the retreat and y'all clowned her? Imagine getting handed equity and tearing it up yourself." Frank locked his Instagram by Wednesday. Kara changed her LinkedIn headline from team leader to open to work. Meanwhile, I was still quiet. No tweets, no interviews, no victory laps. I just kept working. Built out the client pipeline. Finalized branding. Sat in meetings with lawyers, coders, vendors. Took 2 more investor calls that week, but I watched it all unfold. Kara's post history got scrubbed. One of the interns leaked a video clip of her saying, "Lisa just doesn't have vision." Frank tried replying to a few comments, said people were cherry-picking moments and misunderstanding the team culture. Someone responded with a screen-recorded Slack convo where he called me fragile for asking to speak in a team meeting. His reply stopped after that. I didn't gloat, didn't need to. The truth had legs now, and people were running with it. By Thursday, they started hitting back, hard. Frank posted a public statement on LinkedIn. full 5-paragraph essay like he was a damn senator. Lisa has always been difficult. We made every effort to include her. But unfortunately, some people choose to self-sabotage rather than grow. He threw in words like mental health, burnout, emotional instability, the kind of buzzwords that make people pause before questioning a man in a blazer. Comments were mixed. A few of his usual ass-kissers chimed in with, "So sorry you're dealing with this, Frank," and "You've always been such a supportive manager," but most people weren't buying it, especially after Kara started getting messy in the DMs. She sent a bunch of our mutuals the same sob story. "Lisa's just bitter because she didn't get promoted." "She's exaggerating. We didn't know she was building anything. Honestly, we thought she was happy." That last one almost made me laugh. I didn't respond. Didn't even type out drafts, just watched. Because not even 24 hours later, someone else spoke up. A former intern, I hadn't talked to her in 2 years, posted a screenshot of an old email. Subject: "Please do not penalize Mia for my oversight." Body: "Me taking full responsibility for a system error Kara caused." That email had kept Mia from getting fired. She added a caption: "Lisa had my back when no one else did. Just saying." Then, another post started circulating. A recording from a webinar Frank hosted the year before. He was on camera, holding coffee, trying to be relatable, talking about communication styles in the workplace. At one point, someone asked how to handle conflict with quieter team members. Frank's exact words: "Honestly, some people are just overly sensitive. You can't waste too much time trying to make everyone feel seen." That clip got clipped, captioned, and shared 100 different ways. One TikTok had over 200,000 views by that night. I opened my inbox the next morning and found a message from a recruiter I didn't know. Subject line: "Just respect." Body: "I've worked in corporate logistics for 15 years. I've seen this play out before. You did the right thing." Loud silence is powerful. "Hope you're building something massive. I read it 3 times. Didn't reply, just flagged it." I still hadn't said a single word publicly. No quotes, no comments. No Twitter threads. Didn't need to. The story was speaking for itself now. And the louder Frank and Kara tried to spin it, the more obvious it became. They were losing. 2 days later, Kara's engagement post disappeared from Instagram. No explanation. Just gone. By the end of the week, someone DM'd me a screenshot. Her fiancé's comment under the YouTube video. Had no idea this was going on. Wish everyone had the full story. I don't condone how it was handled. That was it. Subtle. Final. She scrubbed all their photos. Changed her status to private. Word got around fast. I didn't gloat. Just stared at the screen for a while, then went back to reviewing UX mockups. Frank didn't last much longer. An internal memo leaked to one of the podcast hosts. He read it out loud, almost laughing. Effective immediately, Frank M. will be placed on administrative leave pending a formal investigation into workplace misconduct and retaliation claims. HR reached out to me the next day. Sent a polite email, subject line: "Following up, optional statement opportunity." They wanted input, maybe clarification, maybe leverage. I replied with 2 lines: "No statement needed. I've said all I need to, didn't sign it with regards or sincerely." Just my name. A week after that, they tried to schedule the next team meeting. Sent the invite through the company Slack, same format as always. Blocked off an hour, labeled it strategic sync. Only 2 people showed up. No one spoke. They canceled after 12 minutes. Later that afternoon, I got a message from someone in facilities asking where the team fridge key was. Said no one remembered how the supply restocks worked. I didn't answer. Let them figure it out. It hit me then, not all at once, but in pieces, how much I'd carried behind the scenes, ordering supplies, onboarding temps, fixing printer issues, catching mistakes before they reached the client, making the weekly agenda run smooth without ever calling it mine. The culture they'd bragged about wasn't theirs. It was mine. Quiet, invisible, unpaid, but mine. And now it was gone. They were scrambling to recreate something they never understood to begin with. I didn't feel powerful, didn't feel smug or vengeful. I felt clear, like I'd stepped out of a fog I didn't know I'd been walking through. I stopped checking the hashtags, stopped looking at comment threads, blocked Frank's burner account when it popped up with some half-hearted excuse about context. There was no context left to explain, and I wasn't carrying it anymore. After everything died down, I started hosting coffee chats. Nothing formal, just early career women in logistics, meeting once a month at a little place on South Lamar. No slides, no name tags, no RSVP list. Just chairs, caffeine, and space. First time, 5 showed up. Second time, 11. By the fourth, we had to push 2 tables together. I never called myself a mentor. I just showed up, paid the tab, and asked, "What's been the most annoying part of your week?" That opened the floodgates. Stories poured out. Women who were passed up, shut out, misquoted, blamed, sidelined. Half of them looked like I did 10 years ago. Too polite, too hopeful, too tired to leave. But now they were saying it out loud, together, in daylight. One woman, Hannah, came late to one of the meetups, walked in a little hesitant, like she'd almost talked herself out of it. I offered her a seat and she smiled, but didn't say much at first. Just sipped her latte, listened. Toward the end, after most people had left, she turned to me. "Sorry, can I ask something kinda awkward?" I nodded. She leaned in, real quiet. "Are you the one from the water bottle story?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Yeah, that's me." She looked like she'd just confirmed a conspiracy theory. "I knew it," she said. "I left my job after I read that article. It gave me permission. Like, if you could walk out, maybe I could too." That hit harder than any headline ever had. It wasn't about the business anymore. Not the valuation, not the press, not the slick website or shiny new office space. It was this, her, sitting across from me with her hair tied back and her voice steady, saying it meant something, that she saw herself in what I'd done, that it made her move. I didn't say much, just thanked her, paid the check, walked out into the heat with the others, and didn't feel small anymore. I'd spent years thinking the goal was to be accepted, that if I just worked hard enough, someone would let me in. But now I was building something different, not for a seat at someone else's table, but to pull up a chair for someone who didn't even know she had a voice yet. Every new face at those tables reminded me I wasn't carrying their baggage anymore, and I wasn't dragging mine in behind me either. About a month later, I got a package on a Thursday. No return address, no postage stamp. Just a plain brown box left at my door like someone had driven it over themselves. It was light, barely made a sound when I shook it. I opened it slow, half expecting junk mail or swag from some conference I'd forgotten about. But inside, wrapped in a sheet of tissue paper, was the water bottle. The same one, same shape, same cheap plastic. But the neon lettering was gone, peeled clean off, not replaced. Just gone. No note, no card, no apology, just silence. I held it for a second. It still had that faint powdery scent from the factory. Never used. My first thought? Coward move. Whoever sent it couldn't say a word to my face, couldn't own it, couldn't even sign their name. But I didn't throw it away. I set it down on my desk, next to the framed copy of the original equity letters, the ones I never mailed. I kept one for myself after the retreat. The ink had smudged a little from when I ripped it, then taped it back together. It still made me feel something when I looked at it. Not regret, not bitterness, just truth. I don't check on Frank or Kara anymore. A friend mentioned Frank left the company. No big send-off, no new job post, just gone. Kara's name popped up once in a recruiter's update. She's in HR now at a smaller firm out in Tulsa. Doesn't matter. I don't refresh their profiles. Don't ask around. I've got better things to build. But I kept one thing from the retreat, tucked into the corner of my bookshelf. A Polaroid. Someone snapped it without me knowing. I'm walking away, envelope in hand. Face turned from the camera. Sun behind me. I never meant to keep it. Never meant to post it. But sometimes, I look at it when the noise creeps back in. When doubt shows up dressed like logic. When I start wondering if maybe I was the problem. Then I look at that photo. And I remember, that wasn't me giving up. That was me finally choosing myself.